Good day, everyone. My name is Harrison. I'm technical analyst of Forex Live Academy. So, in today's video, I will be analyzing gold, and I'll show you guys what I'm expecting for the upcoming week here. So, we're not going to waste too much time. We'll get into it immediately. So, as we all know, gold is a safe haven pair, right? So safe haven pairs are pairs that investors run into, or they invest their money into when there is economic crisis. You understand? So if the economy is in a pessimistic environment, which is negative environment, where we are having trade wars, we are having bad news all over the economy, escalations of tariffs and so on and so forth. Those things causes panic in the macro economy, and it drives investors into gold. But in a situation where everything is calm, trade deals are being made, like as we can see now between China, US, and so on. And when the economy is calm and there is really no major outbreak or outburst, it drives gold up downwards, because it means that investors can remove their money from risk off assets like gold and invest in risk on assets like Bitcoin. You understand what I mean? So in other words, if we look at the current situation of the economy from a fundamental perspective, when we look at trade deals, you see that when China has extended their deal negotiation period with United States for the next 90 days. You see that just recently Trump and Putin met for the purpose of coming to an agreement for ceasefire in Ukraine. And according to details that came out of that meeting, it went very well. And in the coming days, we can expect the ceasefire officially. So, what does this all mean? This all means that in the macro environment, there's like things are settling down, things are cooling. There's no real outburst, there's no real pessimistic news or driver. Everything is just, the environment is optimistic, positive. So we can expect maybe a relief push down from a fundamental perspective on gold. But before we conclude on that, we have to see how this aligns with technicals that we have currently. So let's get on it. So if we look at gold technically, we'll start from the monthly time frame. So we'll see that on gold, since the month of May, price has found it hard to push above these areas. Since the month of May, if you look at it very well, you see that price has failed to. So yeah, like I said, you see that we're facing a resistance around this area. Now, why would I say that's a resistance? May we got to this level and then we drop down, rejection June, with July, and now August we are also currently rejecting. So from 3,400 area to 3,430 major rejection. So now let's see how it looks like on the weekly. Now on the weekly, if we look at it very well, you also see that if I take this off, yeah, let me draw this. You'd see that price has not closed above this area on the weekly time frame. Price has not closed above this level. So I'm just trying to make sure the drawing is clear. Price has not closed above this level for a long time. So you see that on the weekly, every time we have come close to this area around here, price has just returned. Like say the first touch draw, second touch buyers tried their best but still closed below. If I zoom in, you see that we still close below. Then if you look at this one, the candle we pushed up, the still close below. Then the most recent retest, which was around July of that area, we still closed below. We retested that area and rejected from it. So that's sending a message that there is strong resistance around there, and sellers around that key level are not, or for the past 3 months, they have not lost their, how should I put it? They are still trying to hold their positions. You understand? Sellers are still in the market and in control. This is simple thing. So the most recent retest will go around July, can see that massive rejection to the downside. And recently, we have been pushing back up to that area. So we will examine the most recent price action and see if there is a chance of us still, pushing upwards, or there's a chance of us continuing downwards. And don't forget, this is in line with the fact that we just said that fundamentals shows that there's no reason for gold to push upwards, because there is optimism in the macro environment, as we examined earlier. So let's go on to daily time frame. Let's even see what the daily shows us. Now, I love this. Look at it. The daily also shows us that very clearly that even on the daily, we still have not closed above this area. It has just been rejection, 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 rejection. So this shows us that across monthly, weekly, daily, there is an alignment showing us that the resistance around this level is closed, and price has failed to close above that area for the longest of time. You understand? So that is something that we have to also keep our eyes on. You get? So why we do that? So if we look closely, on the flip side, every time price has pushed downwards, price pushed down, we got another push down, and we got more push to the downside. You would notice one thing, and what is that? So that means that also buyers too, they've been holding this area around this. So we can see buyers have been holding this level around here. Buyers have been holding this level around there. You understand? So we can conclude that buyers have been holding this area around there to as support. But now I'm just going to do quickly run through some market structure to show you why I favor sellers more in this market. Now, if we look at it, when price pushed upwards, we were creating bullish order flow to the upside. Then when we got to this level, what did price do? Though price is still, was still creating, trying to push above this level and close, what did it do? It swept the previous high. It took out this high. So it means I swept liquidity, then it pushed down. You understand? Before price pushing up back, we testing this new level that swept liquidity and pushed down again. So it means that if we focus on just this time here, price pushed up, you know, had this impulsive push to the upside, retracement, impulsive push, retracement, impulsive push, retracement, and we got a shift of structure. So if we go to the 4 hour time frame, we'll see clearly that the bullish order flow that we had around there, when we were seeing break of structure, break of highs to the upside, it was supposed to be this low. You understand? If buyers were supposed to continue the pushing market up at that period of time, this low should have held, because this is the last low. If we draw after the break, retest of this level, go a push, break, retest, a push. So if buyers wanted to continue pushing market up, they should have held this level to continue. But what happened? This level was invalidated, right? So clearly we can see that there was a shift of structure, and it means that at that moment where this high have already swept liquidity and this bullish order flow was invalidated, switching bearish, because it now looks like something like this. It means that sellers were already in the market, and you can expect that on the retest we should get sales to the downside, right? Now, another thing that made me confirm that this bullish order flow was also invalidated was that if you draw this trend line, you see that this trend line was also trying to hold for the longest of time, where we saw price push up. From here we got a push, got a retest of that trend line, another push, another retest of the trend line, mini pushes in between, then we got another push then before we got the fill. So the trend line showed us that price switch bearish, market structure showed us that price switch bearish after the sweep of that liquidity. Now the question is, what now happened after there? We came back to this level, we actually retested, like I said, price pushed up back, we took out some liquidity on the way up, and we tapped into that supply area around here. So after tapping into that supply area, what happened? Price reacted from that supply area and we pushed down as expected, because I told you guys that Price has swept liquidity, it has shift structure. So the objective would be for price to come back here and push down to also do what? To also sweep liquidity, which price did. But if you notice, what happened was that when price pushed down, we took out as many lows, but we did not still break above this level here. Below this level here, sorry. And that is because this level now started acting as support. The moment we, because if we go back, there was a time price came down. So it was finding it hard to break this area. So the moment we broke above that area, we started using that level. The price we started respecting that level as a support area. You understand? So price respected it that first time we started pushing up to sweep liquidity. The second time after the sweep of liquidity and shift of structure, and now the last retest. You understand? We saw a retest, although it did not come deep, but this is also a retest because we are still around the same area. You understand? So price came back down and we tested this level. You understand? And that means that buyers too, regardless of bearish market structure forming, buyers were also trying to hold their ground around there. So now if you look at it, it now look like price created identical structure in the past where we had this trend line, we had this nice market structure pushed to the upside. Then we also had this trend line again back up, which is price pushing back up to that supply area that should have caused the sales down deeply. You can see it's like history. History doesn't always repeat itself, but it has patterns. I always see. Okay, so when we look at this, you see that price already started doing this again, just like it did that time. Building market structure go here and go a break down before the most recent push back up. So with what we are seeing, when you look at these two things, what can you see? You would see that history is repeating itself. So when you now take out all these things, yeah, when we take out all these things and we zoom out, let me take all this drawing out. Just bear with me. So um when we take out all these things and you see the repetition and everything, if we zoom out back to the daily time frame here, what would you say? Let me take out these two. What would you say you can see? Let's take all this out. Yeah. What would you say you can see? If you focus on just this most recent structure, you can see that we have currently entered the liquidity market. I call liquid markets where consolidating markets because price has pushed up, pushed down, pushed up, pushed down. So it's kind of consolidating, although it's not the classical textbook consolidation. But yes, that is what is happening. So there's a battle between the sellers and the buyers, which one will bulge first, who will give up, who will win the battle, that kind of thing. And now that is the question. Every market has an objective, and it is by knowing the objective, every structure has an objective, sorry, and it's by knowing the objective of that structure you can use to determine what to do next. Now, the objective of this structure is to see who will win the battle. Within this consolidation, we actually have a bearish structure, although it is not looking, some people might not be able to spot it as I did because maybe their market structure game is not strong, but I made it clear enough. You understand? But regardless of the fact we had bearish structure, the buyers have not, they've not given up, like I said. So the question is, who will win? You understand? And how would I answer that question? Who will win in this current battle between buyers and seller is by focusing on the most recent structure and reading what price has been doing around these areas recently from an internal structure perspective. Because everything we've been doing, yeah, we've been looking at just the main structure. So now we have to delve deep and see what the internal structure has been doing so that we know what we are going to be keeping our eyes on, right? So that means that the thing we want to do is we want to see how this level, what is happening within this structure, and if it's still giving us signals for continuous push back up, maybe back to this 3,400 level, or if we'll start seeing that sales now. Now, look at something. This is something I want you guys to take note of before I continue. So, if we look at this here, there's something, like I said, there's something I want to show you guys. Now, look at buyers push, sellers push back down, buyers push, sellers push back down. Now what phase? You notice that there is a repetition where buyers push, sellers push back down, buyers push. So now what current stage are we in? We are in the stage of buyers pushing. And now this is what I want you guys to understand. This is where key understanding will give you clarity. Buyers is pushing. Now, what is the objective of the buyers and sellers? The objective is one of us must win. Either we win, to break out of this level or to break out of this level, meaning that sellers are trying to break out of this area to continue pushing price down, and buyers are trying to break out of this area to continue pushing price up. You understand? Now, the question I would know what to do next on good is to ask ourselves, has gold fulfilled the most recent objective from what we can see? Because now we know that we are in the stage of buyers pushing up. So have buyers successfully pushed up to break that level? Or are they still in the process, or have sellers now come back into the market to push price down and break below this level? You understand? Because now we have to assess it from the most recent structure, like I said, and the most recent structure, we can see that buyers are they are already pushing the market upwards. Now we want to see if they have done their job, because their job is to break this level. Clearly, if you look at it, you see that they have not broken this level, right? So we want to see if they are still in the process of breaking that level, or if price has reacted from this high and is now selling down, meaning that after buyers have tried one more time, they have failed, and sellers are now pushing the market downwards. Now let's see. So if we go to the 4 hour level, right, this would be the resistance area around there, or the supply area as I would love to call it. Why? Because it's the last area that pushed price down after reacting from this supply within the consolidation, right? Now this would be the last supply area we have around this key level. Apart from that area that price reacted from, we also have another key area, which is this level around here. Now this level around there. Now why you can you if you want to, you can optimize it like this, doesn't matter. But we have this key level around here. Now why do I call these two levels key? Now this level is key because it's the most extreme. Then this level is another key level. Why is that? Because this area in the past, if you go back, it has proven to be able to push price down. You can see that when we broke down on the retest, if you want to expand it like this, you see that price retested, push down. Then when we broke back up, price retested, push down, price push back up, we tested this area, push down, push back up, rejected, push down. So this area has been an area that has shown that it can favor sellers when sellers decides to use it. And I'll show you guys why I'm showing you all this now. So if you look at the most recent structure, like we said, the current wave is that buyers are now pushing back up as they have done previously. One, two, three times that number. They are pushing back up to see if they can take out 3,400 level. Now, what now happened? If we look at it very well, you would see that when buyers pushed up, this key level, and the price pushed back down. So at least this level should have acted as this level should have acted as support, as a retest for sales after the initial break. We should have seen retest for sales to the downside, if at all. But what happened? Price broke above this level and it turned this area to a support level. At that period in time, this was just around the earliest part of August. So this key level that was supposed to act as a retest level for sellers, for buyers, that was supposed to turn resistance to support. It act as resistance, turned resistance to support. So we got a break, a retest. You see that price did not close below the area. We got a rejection, a push. So we are building bullish order flow within here internally. Now let's go deep. You see it on the 1 hour time frame. You see on the 1 hour time frame, we are building bullish order flow within. So if you go to the 1 hour time frame, like I said, can you see it? We pushed up, broke structure, push back down, pushed up, broke structure, push back down, pushed up, broke structure. So the 1 hour and 4 hours clearly shows us that when price was coming back up, buyers now turn this resistance level into support. Now, after all the push, you expect that, okay, after that, you can see that price was respecting the order flow, got a respect of demand around there. If you go deep, you see that price actually pushed down, swept liquidity. When I mean sweep liquidity, you see that I took out liquidity and before pushing back up to break structure. I don't want to do all this. It's going to take time, but I'm sure you guys would understand. So after the sweep of liquidity, broke structure, price respected that low, showing that that area is actually strong. We push back up again, break structure, retest, push back up again, break structure. Now you expect that on the retest, price should come down and obey it and continue pushing up, possibly to take out that key level. You understand? This was the chance the buyers had that, you know what, now that we have been able to find our ground around here, we can continue pushing back up, you understand, and take out this area and finally, explode to the upside. But what happened was that when price came back down, it failed. So it means that this internal structure that was being respected got invalidated, and the most recent low that pushed price up to break structure, price broke that low. So what does it mean? It means that on getting to this supply, if we find this supply to this last buy and sell candle, let me show you. This is the last buy to sell candle, which is order block. If we will find that supply, you see that price actually on the last push upwards, when buyers were still trying to push the market to the upside, price tapped into that supply, and the selling force from this supply, what did he do? Sorry, with my drawings, please. The selling force from this supply pushed price down, and we shifted this structure bearish. So this structure now shifted bearish. So it means that sellers once again, like they did in the past, let's go back to the daily, like they did in the past, whereby every time buyers push market upwards, they kept on pushing price down. Again, it means that with the most recent structure, we can conclude that once again buyers have failed to complete the objective of taking this high, and price has pushed back up and it has switched bearish. Why? Because from the reaction of that supply, the internal structure gave us a change of character again, showing us that sellers are still in this market battling to hold their position. Now, we give you another confluence that shows why that affirm what I just said. So if we go to the daily back, we'll go back to the daily. Now, don't forget that I told you guys that this area here has proven to do what? It has proven to push price down a lot of times. So, would not be surprised if price use it as resistance after this break, and the retest as resistance to continue pushing market down. But what now happened to our greatest surprise is that price turned it to support and failed immediately. Now, look at two things that I want you to take note of on why we can conclude that buyers have failed to complete their objective, apart from the internal structural play I just showed you guys. Let me show you guys something. So if you guys look at this very well, immediately we tapped into that supply. We got indecision candle followed by momentum push back to the downside. So we broke that key level that was supposed to be support. We broke below it, and price retested that key level throughout last week. You understand? You can see throughout last week. And what happened was that price retested the level, we got a rejection, retest again a rejection, retest again a massive rejection, followed by an engulfing candle. So on the retest to this area, we engulfed the previous candle, showing us that sellers are in this market. Then after the break, on the retest to the support, after the break of that key level, this key level that was resistance turned support, now turned resistance again, because you can now clearly see that the market is sending you the message here. To understand what market is doing, you have to read into what price is trying to tell you. So on the retest, then when we got this engulfing push to the downside that invalidated this area that was turned support, price now returned that area, now did that retest that it's supposed to have done when price initially broke and retest, to the downside. Now price now finally retrace back to that area, retested it, and it is now rejecting. Now it is now doing what it's supposed to have done a long time ago. Now this rejection is showing us that now sellers are now finally using this area as a key resistance area, or a key level to push that can push price down, as it has done before multiple times. You understand? So apart from the fact that the internal structure on the 4 hour, has switched bearish, because we had this nice bullish order flow, like I said. Had this nice bullish order flow that switch bearish. On daily candlesticks language is already showing us that this level is now being used as resistance once again, because throughout last week price could not push above this area and it rejected all through when it retested that level. You understand? Another thing you can see is that we even created trend line once again and we also invalidated that trend line. So everything is showing us one thing. What is everything showing us? That buyers trying to push the market again to that key level, they have failed once again to continue pushing market up. Internal structure has shown us the key level. Using this key level we have around here, it has shown us that sellers are in the market. On the reaction from a daily perspective, you see that we went with momentum and suddenly we got this engulfing again with this momentum candle that invalidated all the moves, and on the break, the retest we are rejecting from that key level. Now, another key confluence to seal the deal is if we go to the weekly, what can you guys see here? We see that when we came back down, we got this massive rejection followed by a very nice, good momentum candle. You understand? The second week, this was 3 weeks ago, this was 2 weeks ago, and this is last week, the most recent candle. So after this rejection from this level, you finally think that okay, now price is ready to blast above this area. But after this momentum, what happened this past week? We still got another large candle to the downside that engulfed the previous candle. And now again, what does that show us? That regardless of the momentum price used to push upwards, sellers have now re-entered the market, and we might see sellers continue, or we are likely, because we work based on probabilities and we have analyzed everything. We can see that everything is pointing towards one thing: the probability that sellers are still in the market and we are going to see price continue pushing downwards. You understand? We're going to see price continue pushing downwards in this market. That is what we can say from all the confluences and everything that we have seen. You understand? The internal structure has shown us, this key level has shown us, daily candlestick language and also weekly has shown us. So now, what can we do? How can we position ourselves for sales? Now we know that we have imbalances around here to fill. You can see it. We have imbalance around here, and don't forget, below every support area, there is massive clusters of buy orders. You understand? And when there is clusters, sorry, when there are clusters of orders, when there are massive clusters of orders, we believe that that area is liquid. You understand? So it means there's a lot of liquidity resting below these areas, while we also have imbalance as we saw earlier on the 4 hour around there. So if we are going to look to take sales based on what we have seen, we have two POIs we can take sales from: either from this area that price started the sales from, or from this level. So if we see a push back into this area and we get confirmation based on how any of you trades that will be watching this video, if you get your confirmation, you can look to enter sales from this area, because I believe this area is very key. And the fact that price has now turned that area into a resistance level by rejecting a lot from it, plus the internal structure play we saw on the 4 hour, I can say that we are likely, if we get, because market can even just open and continue pushing down, so you might need to find other areas to take sales from. You understand? It is not clear where you would take sales from if price starts selling downwards. You understand? But one thing I can just show you is, if price comes back to this key level, you can look for confirmation and take sales. Or if price comes back to this area here, this key level, we can wait for confirmation and take sales to the downside. And the targets would be this area around here, this imbalance. You can target this level, and also you can target this low here, because like I said, liquidity is resting below this area, because we now have an area of support where buy orders are stacked below. So you can target this low, any of those areas. But one thing you want to just make sure you do is position yourself very well. When price gets to this area or this area, wait for your confirmation, and you can look on to take sales to the downside. And if the market opens and just starts pushing downwards, wait for good confirmations that signal that you can enter from around there. But me personally, I would have preferred seeing market just give us a little push to the upside, either this area or this area, preferably this one. It doesn't even need to go back up. Then based on candlestick confirmation, change of character, and any other kind of confirmation pattern or I use, I would enter from that level. So these are the things you want to be keeping your eyes on. We can see this when market opens. You understand, to the downside, or we can get this when market opens. So you want to keep your eyes on it, and you want to know, because now that buyers have failed to do complete their objective of breaking this area, sellers will try their turn, just as we have seen in the past, where buyers try, sellers try, buyers try, sellers try. So now sellers are obviously going to be trying to push market down, and this time, based on the fundamentals, now going back to the fundamentals we looked at, saying that for the environment is optimistic, there is no escalation, there is no panic in the macro economy, which supports good to sell, sell and go back down to discount areas. It means that we are likely to even see these sales. If we get the confirmation, we are likely to see these sales come and take out this support area around here. Yeah, so that is it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you if you enjoyed the video and you loved the video, it was clear enough and it has given you an idea on what to do for the coming week. Please like, subscribe to the channel, because more videos will be uploaded, and also share to other people to watch. You understand? And if you check the captions below this video, you would see links to our Telegram channel and various social platforms. Feel free to engage. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.